In all those clips, all you ever see is Queen's Park Rangers players running back towards a goal. Yeah. First 20 minutes of the game.
20 minutes, that is.
All the stats back up just how poor they've been there. All those players that were highlighted are experienced.
Yeah.
And yet they're not talking to each other. In the post-match interviews, they're alluding to some players, Rob Green and Clint Hill, that some players aren't with them, that they are a divided squad.
Well, if there is divide within that changing room, they're not going to be of any chance whatsoever of staying in that league, and it's obviously true. Rob Green's not happy. He's always at the forefront, giving interviews. Clint Hill, they're always.
Rob Green gets put out after every defeat virtually to face the media. Why don't more of these experienced players take responsibility? Joey Barnes, to be fair to him, takes responsibility. He's tweeted out apologising to the fans this evening. Clint Hill has obviously done it. But it seems to be the same few faces who take responsibility for QPR's poor performance.
Listen, I'm sorry, this is going back 2 years, is it not? Didn't we have a case a couple of years ago as well, where trying to fight to stay in the Premiership, some players wouldn't even get strict to play on the bench. So, listen, that club quite easily could go through the Championship and be relegated to Division 1 unless it's sorted out. Which I think Les Ferdinand might be
I played in the game at Reading when they went down, and I have to say, as a changing room, it was one of not a huge amount of disappointment which I expected to see. It was quite shocking at the time, but it was clear as day to the fans. They were really upset, obviously, by the lack of commitment shown, by certain players, and I think.
And that's still there.
Well, I wouldn't say it's as excessive. I wouldn't say it's as excessive as it is now. But there's obviously some issues because, I think a few of the players there alluded to the fact they wasn't happy. There were some players that wasn't at the game today.
It's like a cancer, it needs cutting out.
Well, let's just hear back again from Ramsey, Hill and Green about what the future might hold for QPR.
Will the club capitulate? I don't think the club will. I think they've got good owners and they've got Les Ferdinand at the helm who's going to put a long-term strategy into place. And I think that the future looks bright for QPR, apart from dropping its status at this stage of the proceedings.
Yeah, to say it's easier to stay in the Premier League than it is to get promoted from the Championship. There's just a lot of ramifications about people's futures, people's jobs, people's careers, and that's to be decided by the people powers that be.
It's a chance to rebuild. It's a chance to get the culture right and a whole change and a whole fresh impetus into a dressing room and into a club that can start again and hopefully build in the right way and challenge again.
It's a small club, but it's a great club, and Premiership football is what it craves, and I think that we'll be trying our best to make sure all that Premiership football comes back to Loftus Road.
So Chris Ramsey always says they're going to try their best. Clint Hill talks about a culture change, and this might give QPR fans hope. I don't know, Jermaine, but there are a lot of players who could be on their way this summer.
Well, if you look at that list, there's a lot of players in their 30s, and not only in their 30s, a few in their late 30s as well. And I think Clint Hill's right. It needs a complete clean sweep, that club, from throughout the squad, through their mindset of how the club's run. It just needs revamping. I look at Southampton, and they went down a couple of leagues. They went down into League One eventually, but did it slowly, but did it in the right way. Rebuilt their whole structure of their club, and that's something that QPR need to look at as well.
When did Wolves went 2 divisions? Didn't they?
Wolves went 2.
They look like they could go 2 divisions easily. But I presume Les Ferdinand's been brought in to obviously start to address all those situations, but it take a long time to come back to the Premier League.
Well, and history backs that out. It backs that up. When you look at sides that have gone down, only a couple, QPR being one of them, West Ham the other, who've immediately come back the following season. Of course, Norwich could do it depending on how the playoffs go in the Championship.
So 2 out of 12.
And they might have a £60 million fine to cope with for breaking Football League financial fair play rules as well, depending on how that judgment goes.
Yeah, it's bleak. It's really, really bleak for QPR fans and for the club as a whole. No one knows what's going to happen with this fine, but if it does come, their hope would be that the owners would stand by the club and probably soak that up the best they can.
Do they get any points deducted as well as a fine, or is it just the fine?
We think it's just the fine at the moment.
just as well, isn't it? But the only thing is, they'll be able to pay the fine. That's the daft thing about the whole situation.
Do you think fans will be patient? Do you think QPR fans, and you know them, and they had every right to be furious today and how the season has gone in general, do you think they will accept the long-term view that you were talking about?
I do, yeah. I think it's what everyone's craving at that place. They've tried the quick spend. They've tried to, throw loads of money at it, bring all these experienced players to the table, and we'll just survive in the Premier League, and it's not worked. So they need this new structure now for me, which involves a lot more youth, a lot more hunger in getting QPR, which is a fantastic club, by the way, just kind of in a more stable position.
They need normality back in that football. It's just been mad.
Okay, next to Stamford Bridge, where the new champions welcomed Liverpool. What a difference a year makes.